It's okay to be ugly as fuck and broke as shit and dumb as fuck and have a little dick.
Supply and demand is the cornerstone of capitalism and are the key defining factors in the price of an object. But as a niche collector, what happens when both supply and demand are low? I want to talk to you about a couple of examples. Now, when I describe myself as a niche collector, I'm not the kind of guy going around being quirky for the sake of being quirky. I'm the kind of guy sitting, eating breakfast, reading Wikipedia articles, finding out that something exists, and I need to have it. Let's talk about household chemical collectible figurines. Right here, I've got a Mr. Clean action figure. He is a prized possession of mine. This is not something that someone else made custom. This was produced by Procter & Gamble. Also, this is not the only one that there is. There is another one that I've not been able to get my hands on yet. I bought him at a flea market for about $2 in a rotten, moldy old box. But boy gee golly, when you look for him online, he goes anywhere from $16 to $75. And such variety is because the people selling him don't know his price. Who wants a Mr. Clean action figure? Or better yet, who knows that they exist enough to want one? So the seller makes the price. The value is what you're willing to pay. And I paid $2. That is well worth $2. I'd probably pay $20. I wouldn't pay $75. That's for sure. And then, a much more consistently priced collectible that I see that also seems to have no movement is a limited run OxyClean Billy Mays bobblehead wearing a baseball outfit. It's amazing. How, if everyone knew this existed, everyone would need to have one. But it's just, who'd think that chemical companies make action figures? Moving on. Dragon Ball Z toys. Most people who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z don't want action figures anymore. I am in the subcategory of man-children with money who like to collect old toys. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z figures, yes, but they are so varied. So many different companies put out so many different figures at so many different levels of quality. And there's just offshoots upon offshoots. There's the weird ones whose arms only move like this and they have like removable shirts. There's the really high quality ones from Jack Specific. There's the statues that you could find anywhere. But they all average out to about $20 a piece. And that's a lot for a little, 4-inch, 6-inch tall piece of plastic. And again, there's low supply, like limited run, Krillin's spacesuit outfit from when they were going to Namek. God only knows how many of those they actually made. God knows how many survived 8-year-olds bashing them together, breaking them. But also, God only knows how many people want them. I know I do. Lastly, I want to move away from toys and talk about kitchenware. I was going through a hospice store, just browsing the mugs, when I found my prized possession, Gordon Guzzletime. Had this for years. I've eaten countless Cheez-Its, Goldfish, pretzels out of this thing. But one day, I dropped it, and it broke. I thought to myself, it's no big deal. I can just buy myself a new one. I take to the online, looked up Guzzletime novelty mug. only to find out that this is a highly collectible vintage mug. They are listed as 1976 online. I don't know if it was a limited year that they put out the Guzzle Time mugs, but it is from the Papel Giftware Company. And that created a whole new rabbit hole of collectible ceramics that I looked into, selling anywhere from, like, I think I saw one in the lower 20s up to the mid 70s in price for a little mug. And sometimes I think about it. I think about the idea of the true price of an item being what you're willing to pay for it. If someone offered me another Gordon Guzzle Time for $20, I'd buy it in the blink of an eye. $75, I'd have to think about it. But that's the price to me. A collector who has countless Guzzle Time names on their shelf, they might be willing to pay $70 because it's worth that to them. And it's about knowing what it's worth to you, and as a seller, it's about trying to predict what it's worth to someone else. Like, if you have a Mr. Clean action figure, you might be one of the only people with a Mr. Clean action figure. And then someone who wants it is probably the only person who wants it. So that price is completely happenstance. And I find that fascinating.
Baba Booey.
Fortnite balls, I'm gay, I like boys. I kidnap autistic kids, little Mosey is